For this video, I want to learn how to understand and produce Morse code messages. That was Morse code, which I managed to produce simply by typing in a message into a Morse code translator. But let's say you're stranded on a desert island with no Wi-Fi access and your phone has run out of battery. Relying on an online translator is, for obvious reasons, complete and utterly useless. Now, Morse code is a form of communication where each letter of the alphabet is represented by a sequence of dots and dashes, which can then be transmitted through either sound, as you just heard, or light. So to become proficient at both understanding and producing Morse code messages, you would need to memorize at least 26 combinations of dots and dashes, and then you would probably also need to learn a few important abbreviations which could easily come in handy. Like for example the emergency distress signal, or more commonly known as SOS. So while doing research, I came across a bunch of different methods of how to learn Morse code, all of which seemed a bit confusing. So instead, I decided to just do what felt the most intuitive for me. And in this case, it was to simply just start out by learning and memorizing each letter of the alphabet, one letter at a time. Alright, so I've written down every letter of the alphabet along with each letter's corresponding Morse code translation. And when dealing with memorization challenges of this nature, there's a few different ways you can approach it. One very common method that has been well documented to help improve memorization is something called mnemonics, which is where you take the thing that you're trying to memorize and connect it with a word, phrase, or object that reminds you of that particular thing, which in turn then should help you remember better since you're associating it with something that's easier to recall. So with the letter A, for example, you could memorize the Morse code translation by using the phrase a boat, and then just repeat that process for the entire alphabet. Now, as a language teacher, I'm very well familiar with these types of associative memorization techniques. But to be completely honest with you, mnemonics have never really worked that well for me. Instead, it usually just ends up confusing me, and I tend to see it more as additional stuff that I have to learn rather than as a helpful tool. I would recommend that you try it out to see if perhaps mnemonics could work for you. But also remember that each and every one of us has a different style of learning that suits us the best. So instead, I'm gonna go for something more simple and old-fashioned. Flashcards. Before starting with the flashcards, however, I want to first go over the entire list of letters just to try to memorize as much as possible. Beep, 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 beep. On day 3, I made flashcards for all of the letters of the alphabet, as well as for the following abbreviations. So I have my flashcards here, and I'm gonna start practicing beginning only with the letters, and the abbreviations I'm gonna leave until I feel like I have the letters down 100%. So let's get to it. Alright, so I think I'll start with the letters facing upwards first. Alright, let's just put this away. Okay. E, that's beep, so that's a dot. Yes. F, that's beep, 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 beep. So 2 dots, 1 dash, 1 dot. Yeah. T, that's 1 dash, beep. Yeah. Alright, it's going pretty good so far. Q, beep, beep, beep. What? Wait. 1 dash, 1 dot, 2 dashes. Oh. Wait, so that's the other way around. So 2 dashes, 1 dot, 1 dash. Okay, damn it. Alright. Oh, so it's the Y that's 1 dash, 1 dot, 2 dashes. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah. Alright, last one. J. What is it? Okay, I think I got it. It's 1 dot and 3 dashes. So beep, 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 beep. Okay, so that's pretty much all of them in the first round. Okay, so now let's try with the Morse code facing upwards. Oh, Jesus. Alright, okay. So let's try just with some simple ones. So, beep beep, that's an I, 2 dots, I, yeah. The C, beep, 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 beep. And then the last one, beep, 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 that's the L. Yes. Woo! All right. I need a break. All right, Alright, so I've practiced the abbreviations a little bit off screen and I finally feel like I have everything down. And the way I want to do it, I think, is by first testing my ability to write Morse code on this piece of paper and then simply just type it into a Morse code translator to see if it's correct. Following that, I then want to test my ability to decode Morse code from sound. And for that purpose, I found a website that can generate Morse code messages consisting of random sequences of letters. And here you can also adjust the level of difficulty by either increasing or decreasing the speed at which the Morse code message is sent. But enough said, let's give it a try. I'm probably just gonna start with something simple like, hello, my name is Samuel, full stop. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna try. Let's start with the H first. 4 dots. Now here it's important to take notice how between each letter I'll just leave 1 square of space in between, and between each word I'll leave 2. And the reason for that is that when listening to Morse code messages, the only indication of space between letters and space between words is a small period of silence. So between each letter you'll have a small break, and between each word you'll have a break that is a bit longer. All right, let's check out to see if it's correct. So I'm just gonna leave it at Morse code to text, type in what I've written down here, and then see if it's correct. Okay, so let's start with the H, 4 dots. And then the full stop, dot, dash, dot, dash, dot, dash. Hey! All right, okay, so the first message is correct. All right, let's try one now that's a bit more difficult. I want to try out one last message here where I include all of the abbreviations as well. So here I attempted to write out the message you see to the left. And I managed to do it with only 1 minor mistake. So I decided to give it a rest and save the second test for the next day. So now it's time to move on to the final test where I'll see if whether or not I'm able to understand and decode Morse code when it's transmitted through sound alone. So the way this Morse code generator works is that you have different settings that you can set it to. And the one I'm gonna use is where it just produces a Morse code sequence consisting of random letters. And up here you can also choose the speed at which the Morse code is transmitted. When you've put in your settings, you then scroll all the way down to the bottom here and then you say generate Morse code. And what it then does is that it then allows you to play the Morse code like so. And while listening to the Morse code, you then do your best to write out what you hear before you press this little button underneath that says show the Morse code text below. And then it shows you the sequence of letters and you can check if what you have written down is correct. Okay, so for my first try, I think I'm gonna set the speed way down just to test out the waters. So now it's at 3 words per minute. All letters is checked and generate Morse code. Okay, I'm just gonna get ready here and then I'm gonna press play. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, wait, whoa. Okay, this is so much more difficult than I thought. Okay, you know what? I already completely messed this up, so let me just keep going and then I'll just have to see what it is. Oh my god. Okay, this is pretty much all. I hope you can see that. This is pretty much all I managed to get. Okay, I'll just show the Morse code here, then I'll see how much of it I got correct. Okay, so the B is correct. That's not a G, I know. That's a D I've written. Then K, that's also wrong. Beep, beep, beep. Okay, so that was an O. I had written that as a G. That's wrong. Okay, so that was an S, and I had written a U. So that's incorrect. D, which was supposed to be a V. That's incorrect. T, A. I put that as a K, so that's incorrect. Yeah, okay, so this is the final result, which is a complete disgrace. So I think I'm just gonna sit down and practice a bit. While I wasn't feeling too discouraged at this point, I wanted to keep practicing until I was able to decode an entire message without making any mistakes. Ah, god damn it. I think I missed the last one. Okay, let's check if it's correct. N, K, K, J. Ah, damn it. Oh, that was a B. X, Q. Oh, god damn it. Alright, here we go. This is it. It's not. J, F, C, W, K, R, Q, L. Oh my god. Whew. Finally. Jesus Christ. Every single one correct. Oh my god. That's it. Whew. Alright, that took way longer than I had imagined it would. And that's even though I only practiced at a pace of 3 words per minute all the way through. And while I do feel like I have learned the basics of Morse code and made a decent amount of progress in a short amount of time, there's obviously still a lot of room for improvement. There's still stuff like numbers, punctuation, and a ton of other abbreviations that I still don't know. Not even to mention that my decoding speed definitely still needs a lot of work. Overall, however, I do feel like I did achieve my original goal of wanting to be able to understand and produce Morse code messages. And while I guess you could argue that it's technically a pretty useless skill since it's an outdated form of communication, I definitely think doing stuff like this is a fun and different way to train your memorization skills, which can be beneficial in a lot of other areas. And that's regardless of whether you're using mnemonics or flashcards. It's really all just training of your cognitive abilities. But to conclude, being able to decode a full randomly generated Morse code message with 0 mistakes is a pretty good place to round off the video, I think. So if you're new to the channel and you enjoy this type of content, please remember to subscribe to stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.